Alright, I'm making this video to help those who are making these Model 2 and Model 4 of SP500. You see, the SP500 is a name of one of these, but I think there are apparently 4 different models, even though they all go under the name of SP500. If you're looking for the plans for the Model 2, it has its own plans. Model 3 and 4 are in the same file that you can pay for. I think it's called a SP500 generator. They're inside of there, okay? They're not all sold together. Anyway, this is of a small version of Model 4. The magnets have 8 pounds of pull force, very weak. And this is 21 American wire gauge, 21 gauge magnet wire, and these are connected in series, meaning that the north and south of the north of this one is connected to the south of this one, and then the north of this one is connected to the south of this one, and these are the 2 remaining wires that I did not connect together. And this is where you can connect your voltmeter and test how much power electricity this thing produces when it's running. See, this is how it turns. As you can see, I didn't do a good job on my collars. They're not very well balanced. This is my first unit. The closer you can get the magnet disc to the coil disc, the more electricity you can get out of these. Okay, so when it wobbles like this, it prevented me from getting these very close. Now, the Model 4 doesn't say anything about how you make this thing move, okay? I didn't have the Model 2 plans at the time, so I didn't know what the hell to do. And I realized after a while, looking at things on the internet or whatever, that I had to find something to turn this. So I got this off of eBay. It's a 12 DC motor. And the reason why it's mounted to this board is because I want to make sure it doesn't move. And then I have it clamped down with a pipe clamp. And then this thing is also held down. I have it attached right here. It's an L bracket, okay? An L bracket over here too. And it's attached to the board. And there are 2 boards above the motor, and the same board is down here connecting these things. And the reason, and as you can see, this is a coupler. And I have to have this thing right here at the same level as this. See, this thing right here has to be lined up to this. There's a shaft coming out of this motor, okay, and this is a coupler. So I can raise these by adding washers underneath these L brackets. I can raise the whole unit. I can raise it up, or I can lower it by adjusting how many washers I have. But anyway, this is a very this only produces about 3 volts AC. Okay, very, very weak. But it does produce electricity when it turns. About 2,000 revolutions per minute of this shaft. So it uses more power to run this motor than I can get out of here. And the full-size versions of the Model 2 and Model 4 have much stronger magnets and thicker wire, magnet wire. And so I haven't made one yet. Supposedly more electricity is obtained from the output wires than is used to run the motor or whatever you use to make this thing turn. Okay. There are people having difficulty with that, making it happen. It does state on creative science and research sites like Fuelless Power and stuff like that, that you get much more power. Okay, so that's a problem. I mean, no offense, I understand there's patents and securities and stuff like that, but when one is advertising products, people help ensure that people are satisfied that one should make sure that the products that are made actually the people get the help they need. unless they're totally incapable of following what you're saying. What else are you going to do? This is magnet wire, and at the ends here I scraped off the coating on the wire. You have to scrape it off at each spot where you connect the wires. The coil, this is a coil right here. This one thing is a coil, this is another coil. Here, I'll show you a coil. See, this is a coil. I had to scrape off of this so that they can be connected, because there's a coating and electricity cannot get through the coating. This is an example of a coil that I made. It actually works. So it's very small. It's not the full-size version. Anyway, that's what's in here. And mainly, when you put these together, when you line up them, this is one disc right here, and this is another disc. These per the directions, just follow the directions of, make sure it's this side's going north, and this one's going south out this way, and this one's going north. So you stagger them, okay? And the same thing with the coils. Make sure the north side of this one's going this way, and the south side's going this way, and the north side's going this way. And the same thing of this one, north, south, north, south. And when you line up this disc, this to this disc, this magnet, let's say it's going north this way, okay, and south this way. Well, you want to have if it's going south this way on this magnet, you want to have the north side going this way and the south side going this way. What I'm trying to say is you want to have the north of one side pulling, facing the south of the other magnet, okay? And that's how you line them up. Now, I don't have there's a certain, I'm using an electric motor. So this thing just sits, okay? I just have wire sticking off of it. This is a Model 4. Model 2, you have some additional things that you can do, but there's nothing mentioned about those things in Model 4 version, okay? So I'm not doing anything with that. I'm making a full-size Model 4 version. That's what I'm doing. Although you really should have the directions for Model 2 and Model 4 if you're going to make a Model 4, because the Model 4 directions, you have to either know how to do things already in construction, or you're gonna do this kind of crap. Okay, see how it's wobbling? I'm not an expert, but the Model 2 instructions do help to avoid this kind of stuff when you're making it. So if you're gonna do it, you should probably have both directions. Now the biggest problem, like I might have mentioned already, is that you need to get more power out of this than you're putting into this. And this is where the power goes into it. You see there's a positive and negative or whatever down here. One's a positive, one's a negative. You actually, otherwise you're just blowing electricity. You're not getting more than you wanted. And you put all this work into it. It's kind of a, and I don't necessarily follow their directions specifically. I might use a certain, well, this is a 1/4 size machine anyway. This is 1/4 the size of the full version, and the magnets are much less strong. And these are very tiny wires compared to what is advertised in Model 4. So, there are places you can get. See, I got these off I looked on the internet, and these are just bearings. They're called flange bearings. Just give something for the rod to move in, no big deal. And everything's locked in place because I got these things holding these down, so nothing's gonna move anywhere. I got this in here. I only got 2 of them. I got them all locked down, so nothing's gonna move. So when it flips, and I only have like one. They call them magnet back covers, and I didn't do a great job of it. But this is one. It prevents the magnet from flying out when it's running. Use some eye protection either way when you're running one of these, and don't stand right in front of it, when it's spinning. Without any, there's like a shield. Usually the Model 2, I think, has like a cover over the top of it, which one doesn't even see this stuff when it's running. But I don't want a magnet flying out and whacking someone in the face. And this is just a coupling, okay? You have to know what size. This is a 1/4 inch, and this shaft in here is much smaller than a shorter 1/4 inch, but I found a coupling that would match up close enough, so I used it. There are other things one can use for adapting a larger size rod to a motor. I'm not sure what I was supposed to say. I think this is about it. I wanted to make this video to help people who are making these things. I am yet to come across somebody who actually made one successfully where that produces more power than is put into it. I'm not sure exactly what to say, but when something is advertised that it does that, it should do that if the directions are followed correctly. And I think in the Model 2 you get support for a year when you're trying to make it. So I think that that support means that they help you create a product that will produce what it says on their internet sites. Otherwise, it's potentially the company is not really setting themselves up very well. I just, from what I see, I'm just pointing that out there. If it was me, I would. I'm not going to say anything. If I was running the company. All right, that's it. I'm not going to run it, excuse me. I'm not going to run it because I know it works. I'm not making this up. I know it gets 3 volts AC at 12 volts connected to this. I know what it gets. And about 2,000 RPM, I guess. If I put more volts onto it, I'll get higher speed of this. I mean, if I connect like 24 volts of this, I'll get about 4 volts AC out of these, okay? I know if I run it faster, I'll get more. But it uses more power than what I get out of it. And 4 volts AC is not, it's like 1/30th. I mean, it's like, I need 110 volts. And then it's a long story. But like I said, it has to produce more than is put into it. Or it's, something is wrong. All right.